So as more of us come into resonance with this material in our physical format, when we return as physical again, are we more apt to remember next time?
You're more apt to bump into more books. There are about 20 on the shelf now. You're more apt to rendezvous with more people who have kept it alive through their active awareness.
And one more question.
Law of attraction was spoken in the early 1900s, not understood and never talked about in detail. And Napoleon Hill became aware of it through some people that he was interacting with, and explained it in very scanty form, and the editors edited everything out that had anything to do with vibration. And it was not until Abraham began flowing through, well, we started to say Abraham began flowing as Seth through Jane Roberts, that the idea of creating your own reality was activated again. There was a big span of time in which it was relatively inactive. When Jerry began reading Seth, he felt a renaissance of desire bubbling within him, which led to the receiving of Abraham, and in the patience of audiences like this. In other words, Jerry and Esther said if 20 people would gather, they would be willing to go. So since 1987, they've been presenting gatherings like this where people can ask their questions, and more and more and more definition about law of attraction has been coming forth. In other words, it's always the way that it is. Anytime there is something that is resonant with who you are, the potential of it being activated again comes forward. But it requires someone who is willing to stand in a place where they can receive a vibration long enough that they can begin to make sense of it. In other words, the vibrations never go away. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists. So the potential of finding these nuggets or these pieces of information is always, the potential for it is always there. But when someone is asking with the intensity that Jerry was asking, and Esther is standing in a place of absolute non-resistance, so that they could have the conversation and have the conversation and have the conversation and have the conversation, have the conversation, and then 3 of you gathered in Seattle, and then 12 of you gathered in Portland, and then more and more are coming, until now there are millions of people who are around the planet who are beginning to acknowledge that law of attraction does mean something, you see. Now, there's something really interesting going on with law of attraction now, because most everybody who's heard about law of attraction is misunderstanding what it means, because they don't understand that the true attraction that is at the heart of the true law is in this vortex, that it's the non-physical version of you, the eternal version of you, and if that part is left out, then nothing else makes sense. Are you following? And so that's what you're out there talking about here today. But that's a little treacherous to talk about something that's spiritual in a world where there is so much competition about religion. And we want to say to you, we are, and we are not saying this because we want you to do anything about it, at the heart of every religion. There is no religion that is apart from this power of this law. We are all eternal beings, you see. And so what you really want to do, and this is the movement that is really afoot, what you really want to do is just come into sync with who you are, which in our current vernacular, which is annoying to many, get in the vortex, get into the vortex, get into the vortex, and then get into the vortex, and then have a conversation with your neighbor, get into the vortex, and then have a conversation with your mother, get into the vortex, and then get in, sync up with who you are, and then. And what this generation and the one that follows and the one that follows has the potential of understanding is that everyone on your planet is of benefit to you, and there is no value and no reason to make an enemy of anyone, any more than there's any reason to make an enemy of the food in the buffet line that you don't want to participate in this moment. So having said all of that, now we want to add a big so what. We really want to say, no big deal. Don't run around and say, I found the secret to all of, well, I found the answer to everything. I found the answer to because it is ever expanding. What you really want to do, what we really, really want you to do and know is, I found harmony with who I am, and I'm joyful in this moment. I've found harmony with who I am, and I'm joyful in this moment. I've found harmony with who I am, and I'm liking what I see there, and I'm liking what I see there, and I'm liking what I see there. I have not come to fix anything because the world is not broken. I have just left behind the flawed premises that have been tripping me up.
Now one more. I notice when I listen to the CDs, sometimes you'll answer a question with such power and clarity that I begin to cry. And it's happening more frequently, not less frequently, as my understanding gets deeper. And I'm wondering what's going on in terms of the emotional scale. It doesn't feel like just the ease and bliss of being in the vortex.
Well, what that is, it's in your willingness to stay focused with us. Happened here just now, just saying. In your willingness to stay focused with us, you are releasing last pieces of resistance, and that's relief that you're feeling as you become one with who you are. And you never get that done, do you? In other words, because tomorrow you're going to find another piece of resistance somewhere. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Don't you just love expanding and catching up and expanding and catching up? Don't you love being eternal? Don't you love knowing you never get it done? And you'll reach a point. You've already reached that point. You'll reach a point where you'll understand your hands-on ability, that you can consciously control your relationship with who you are, and then nothing in the universe, certainly nothing on this planet, will ever pose anything that is even close to a threat to you, because you know, I can go to the vortex anytime I want, eventually. Good time for a segment of reflection.